It's Red Eye Radio. Gary McNamara and Eric Harley talk about everything from politics to social issues and news of the day. Whether you're up late or you're just starting your day, welcome to the show. From the Uniden America Studios, this is Red Eye Radio.
All across America, we are Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Good morning. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
All right, before we go any further, we didn't even discuss this in our pre-show meeting. We discussed everything else. We didn't even discuss the cafe standards and all that in our pre-show meeting. We'll have to get to that. No. There's two. We don't have enough time in our pre-show meeting to discuss everything.
I know.
And we give our pre-show, we set aside at least like 90 seconds for a pre-show meeting.
It's at least 90 seconds.
Yes.
Yeah, at least.
Sometimes it gets up to 120.
Right, yeah.
And sometimes a pre-show meeting can be 15 minutes long where it's...
Yeah. Well, we call that our silent meeting. That's when we communicate. Wasn't there a story about Prince back in the day when he wanted people to communicate with him telepathically? The artist Prince. And which sounds like he was just messing with people, probably.
That's what that sign was. Huh?
Yeah. Well, that sign was about his Warner Brothers contract.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
I know.
It was, and then once everybody figured it out, it was like, oh, that's brilliant. I wish I would have thought of that. My divorce would have gone much smoother. But you know, his the thing is that I don't know. Our meetings, they just come in. They are what they are. We had one of our great bosses, Bob Schomper. He used that saying quite a bit. It is what it is. And I hated that saying. But I use it all the time. And the reason I hate it is because I know it means nothing, but I use it all the time. It's basically that was Bob telling me, get out of my office.
Well, what it means is reality exists.
Yeah, exactly. You know, you're not going to change the nature of the beast. Right?
By the way, reality exists. Well, that's really our whole political problem right now, that reality exists, and some people wish to deny that reality exists.
Right.
But it was yesterday was just the day, and there's a couple of you saw it on social media a lot from the left, especially because of the whole Somali scandal in Minneapolis, in Minnesota. Mm-hmm. That here they go attacking race again, and it's really interesting because, and we had mentioned it yesterday, but yesterday was the day that it became, all right, see, this is Trump, the racist here.
Yeah, right.
In order to try to hide this scandal.
Right,
I don't believe it's going to work. I think when you were out the other day, Christopher Rufo's column on it, because he's one of the ones that broke the story last week, and he said culture, and an old friend, in fact, many years ago, back in 1999, when I was working for KXL, a great affiliate in Portland, Oregon, that is. And we went to Hawaii, and she and her husband went with us, DQ, and she writes, and I just saw this, and I went, with everything else that I saw yesterday saying, oh, okay, Republicans here, it's about racism. She said, American culture and who we let into our country has nothing to do with the amount of melanin a person has. Think about who you would want your daughter to marry. Does this person think like you? Does he have similar values? Does this person have the same desire to maintain the shared values of your family? Is their religion political? The answer matters. And you know, when you look at, and we've talked about culture before, it's the environment that you grow up in. It got nothing to do with skin color.
Well, it's the behavior of individuals, you know.
Well, you look at the culture that's being created on the far left. That's a culture.
Oh, no, it is. It is. Because in every case, and we pointed this out last night, it bears repeating here, in every case in blue cities and when it comes to, my gosh, everything, October 7th, when it comes to crime in blue cities, the deference goes to the terrorists and the bad guys. And they use, they as one of their really flimsy shields, identity politics.
Right. But that becomes, when it becomes part of the narrative, when groups of people gather together to promote their shared values, that is a culture.
Mm-hmm.
A culture is being created. We have I'm going to use this from now on. I should have said it years ago, but we have in this country a culture of delusion.
Yeah.
It's really a culture of delusion.
No, it is.
And you can start it out with the radical transgender movement.
Mm-hmm.
What do you mean? What are you talking about? Men can't have babies. We know it's the most absurd thing ever. It's like denying gravity.
Right.
But if you have a bunch of people sitting at a cliff saying, we just don't think, we're part of a cult and we just don't think that gravity exists, and they all jump off.
Right.
And then you get, people a little bit weary going, well, it didn't work for them. Yeah, but, they just didn't do it right. They didn't flap their arms enough.
Right.
You can defeat gravity.
Yeah.
And then you get more people to jump off,
Right.
then more people. That's when it becomes a culture of absolute delusion, and that's what we're dealing with here in this country with the left, and that isn't I can say that isn't skin color, even though those that embrace the culture may be more white women.
Well,
if you look at the demographics of where they're of where they're voting.
right.
And if you look, for example, and it's been brought up, just how many, with the No Kings thing, it's a culture of delusion.
Mm-hmm.
You may not like Trump. You may dislike his policies. You may have that horrible characteristic of hate where you hate him, but he's not a king.
Right.
We are part of a constitutional republic.
Right.
That's the reality of it. But he wants to put through executive orders. Well, then every president is a king, and that is also inaccurate.
Exactly. And we've done this for so long, but one of the things that you said years ago, and we broke it down, you look at the left, and we had questioned, why in the world? Why are they so obsessed when it came to identity politics? And the simple answer was right there. And it is, because it's how they think. It's how they think. They're the ones obsessed with it. That's where the real bigotry lies.
Yeah, we had said this
on the left.
If you've never heard it before, it was this goes back years ago when you and I were we would sit there and say, but when the government does this, it's not they can't be as efficient and as the private sector, whatever the issue was. And somebody would call me and go, that's racist. It's not racist. We're talking about economics, and we're talking about government versus the private sector and how competition works. It's not even in the ballpark of racism. Why would they do that? And you and I always went, why is everything just racism, racism, racism? And we just said, well, because they don't have an argument, and that's partially true. But then what we came to understand is that they are projecting out what they believe, and human beings tend to do that. They look at it, and they have institutionalized and mainstream identity politics, which is judging people by groups and not individuals. That's how they think. They are, in essence, by doing that, racist.
Yeah.
Well, they assume then that if they think that way, then you have to think that way.
Right.
And that's not true.
Not true. Not true at all.
It's not true. And so when you hear it, when you hear what they do, since they have judged, because and if you want the evidence of it, the whole evidence of it is the critical race theory, where they look at it and they say whites are culturally racist to the point where it might as well be part of their DNA, and we must form society. All of society must be formed to assume that all whites are racist. And they don't deny it. And that's where you get to that's where you get to the critical race theory point, because I don't know many Democrats that disagree. There might have been a few, but the vast majority didn't disagree with that concept of critical race theory.
Right. Well, because it's another attempt to close the debate. Not that there ever was a debate, because they won't go to the table on the left. They don't want a debate. But the idea of critical race theory is to introduce it through indoctrination and then try and make it the reality forever, so that the debate is over and they win the forever game. It did not work because it was rejected in part by mixed couples who said, wait a minute, you're telling our children here at school
I'll never forget that
one of us is a racist and can't do anything about it, and the other one is forever oppressed and can't do anything about it.
One is racist and an oppressor, and the other one is a victim.
For life and always
For life.
will always be oppressed. And so you can't, and they were furious, as they should be. These parents weren't going to have it. This is the problem on the left time and time again. They want to do the Hail Mary on indoctrination. They're fighting tooth and nail. They want control of your children from the earliest of ages. They want control of the brains because used to be that the indoctrination just started slowly until you got to about middle school, and then they ramp it up. And of course, by the time you're at college level, you're cooking with full steam. Well, no, now they want them at 4 and 5 years of age. Now they want them at the moment that they can talk and walk. That indoctrination must start because, again, the idea is to never have the debate. If this becomes their reality, it's The Village all over again from M. Night Shyamalan. You just build a little village and put a wall around it. And it's going to, I'm telling you, that movie is a symbol for everything today.
I know.
Everything.
And it was, what, 20 years ago?
20 years ago.
And it's just like, and I wish that everybody would have heard, and it goes back a couple of months ago, where all of a sudden we're discussing The Village. It was like, oh my God, it's exactly where we are.
The breakdown, the color red, which is
basically
Trump.
It's liberalism today and where we are right now. Yeah, because the color red is Trump.
Right. The monster that isn't actually a monster, but they want you to believe is a monster.
Right. Those we don't speak of.
Those we don't speak of, which don't say his name.
Which would be Trump.
Exactly.
and MAGA.
And they built a wall.
Yes.
It was all there. All along. M. Night Shyamalan, the great prognosticator.
Right.
He put it out there for everyone.
Well, basically, in The Village with M. Night Shyamalan doing that, he's talking about California, where Newsom really wants to put up a wall. He can't do it.
He can't do it.
So he's doing the whole retroactive
to keep the
tax
children
thing.
in. There's the other.
He's trying to keep the money in.
Of it.
He's
trying to keep the money exactly. The rich parents. So you get all of the. You get all of it. It represents pretty much everything. Everything, and it's you got to watch it and just compare it because it fits in so many places. But it really is, if you think about that kind of indoctrination, because that movie does get you thinking. I remember back then.
Oh, what a great movie!
I remember saying to my wife, "Why didn't we think of this?" Yeah. And so we could have had we could have had our children's minds thinking, "Oh no, that's
because it's
1800."
It's such a great movie because you're trying to get a grasp on why this 1800 thing. What is it?
Right.
Is this a horror movie? And it was funny because I was on the plane with a woman this past week, and I said, and we got into talking about not really politics as much as culture, but culture actually is politics now, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
And I was talking about, we were talking about the Village, and she said, "Is it a slasher movie?" And I went, no, except for a couple of animals.
Yeah, right, yeah.
But you don't see them being slashed.
Right.
But I said, no, it's got much deeper meaning. It was portrayed when it came out. The trailer, for example, the first time I saw it, I went, okay, I got to see this.
Yeah.
And, I got to see, just because it was I am not attracted to horror movies. I'm just not at all.
Right.
But something about, and I think that came out after.
Was it after Signs or before?
It came out after Signs.
Yeah, okay.
I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then what was the one before the one with Bruce Willis?
Oh, Unbreakable.
Unbreakable, yeah. So I'd
one
seen
of the
those two.
greatest movies,
So you knew that even though the trailer was, it came off as a horror film. When the trailer did, when you go,
right,
well, it's every, and even the critics are like, we're not going to give it away, but it isn't a horror film,
right? Well, like Signs wasn't an alien movie.
No,
it was
wasn't.
a movie about faith.
Yeah.
And, so.
And then the person in the water, and then he blew it from that point.
The lady in the water.
Oh, then the other one. What was the other one? The where the trees fought back.
The Happening.
Then it was like,
no.
Oh, now you're going off the
that
deep
one has
end.
come true. Yeah, that one is Mountain Cedar is trying to kill me.
Oh my gosh!
Right now.
Oh,
Mountain cedar trees are attacking me ferociously.
You know something? The mountain cedar.
Yeah.
The last couple of days, I haven't been able to. I mean, my eyes have been watering, and when you mentioned NyQuil, I took before I came in tonight. I have one of the pills. I only took
the Dayquil.
Yeah, they have two of them you can take. I only take one of them, which is a half dosage. I had to take it, and I'm feeling great right now. And I'm like, okay, I guess I'm addicted to these things for the next couple of months with Mountain Cedar.
Yeah,
but the trees are
the trees are
fighting
to kill me
back
right now.
But yesterday was a day where it was like, okay, here come the Democrats to attack. That it's not culture, it's racism, and it's not. It's culture. And the culture, and even when Trump explained, he may not be the greatest explainer sometimes in these things,
right?
But I understand exactly what he was saying.
Yeah,
it's the culture of crime that comes from these places, and there is a culture of crime,
right? Yeah, there is, absolutely.
Yeah. There's a culture of crime that we don't pay attention to the government, we don't pay attention to rules, we don't pay attention to the
chaos.
Law. Yeah,
it is chaos,
and it's because of where they came. It's because of what their environment has been for decades.
Right.
We are Red Eye Radio.
Brought to you by Hot Shot Secret.
Hi, I'm Jen Loomis, a transport safety expert at J.J. Keller. At a roadside inspection, inspectors may ask to see supporting documents. The document generated or received by a motor carrier in the normal course of business that can be used by law enforcement to verify a driver's logs. These documents can include bills of lading, itineraries, schedules, or equivalent documents that indicate the origin and destination of each trip. They can also include dispatch or trip records, expense receipts related to on-duty/not driving periods, electronic mobile communication transmitted through a fleet management system, and payroll records, settlement sheets, or equivalent documents that indicate payment to a driver. Drivers using paper logs must also keep toll receipts. Supporting documents must contain the driver's name, carrier-assigned identification number, or vehicle unit number that can be linked to the driver, the date, the name of the nearest city, town, or village, and the time. This tip was brought to you by J.J. Keller & Associates. Visit us at jjkeller.com.
Lines open for your calls. 866-90-RED-EYE on Red Eye Radio.
We are Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Yeah, I think this is I don't think the Democrats can win on race anymore. I mean, they use it every single time, and I think that when you look at the amount of fraud and when you look at immigration, look, you and I have talked about the poll that was taken a few years ago in Canada that shocked everybody.
Yeah.
When the citizens of Canada were polled, and it was like 90% or something like that, 80 or 90% said anybody who comes to this country must share Canadian values. Now, it all depends, the Canadian values of Ottawa or the Canadian values of Alberta. I mean, that would be the question.
Exactly. Let's have that discussion.
I mean, because in Alberta, you probably find more people in Alberta that believe in free speech. Where in Ottawa, probably not.
Yeah.
And so, but it was the fact that people, the whole concept was, I want people who come from other countries to share, because that's how people look at it when they take a poll. I want them to share my values.
Yeah.
Because this country is about my values, and this country is about our values. And what are our values? Where are our values listed anywhere?
I don't have to.
Constitution of the United States, Declaration of Independence,
and
Federalist Papers, laws.
And culturally, you would assume that, again, but the left, no. We can't force people to assimilate. We don't want that. That's racist.
You're listening to Red Eye Radio from the Uniden America Studios.
And we are Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Download our Red Eye Radio app today, and you can listen when and where you choose. So, really, I mean, there's a ton of other stories yesterday, but that's the one that really that really hit me because this is a huge story. It's a huge Republican win, but it's also I think a learning moment. For Americans when it comes to when they learn more about this, because from what you can see, you look at that. I can't think of the name of the group, the employees group in Minnesota that said we've known about this for the longest time. We've all known about it.
Right.
Democrats ignored it, and you saw more of it yesterday. Yeah. You're not going to win that argument by coming back and saying, "Well, Trump and them are racist against Somalis."
Nope.
No. And I have seen, and we've read a number of things that have been written by Republicans saying this isn't about race. It's about culture. And it's a discussion that has to be, it's a discussion that has to happen. And it's not about race. It's about culture/values. And if you come from a country, may not be your fault. It's the culture you grew up in. Mm-hmm. It's the environment. It's how you were, it's how you had to survive in your own country. But the culture is steal from the government, break the law, hate your country.
Yeah.
And in Somalia, they may have some great reasons to hate their country. But the fact is, if they're immigrating to the United States or wish to immigrate to the United States, you can't have one major party saying all cultures are equal. Mm-hmm. People shouldn't have to assimilate into the United States.
Right.
Their culture is... Look, if their culture is about food or sports, that's fine. Mm-hmm. If more people go to soccer games, that's okay.
Hey.
All right.
Tone that down a little bit.
We have in my city that I live in, Grand Prairie, Texas. Mm-hmm. The baseball stadium is gone. Mm. They had a baseball stadium. It doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
We are cricket central of the United States.
Yeah, but Jasmine Crockett is also representing your district, so, some mistakes have been made along the way, let's just say.
Well, she was a big push for it. I think it was Crockett for cricket.
I like that. That's a good one.
No, that was it was a
somebody
local,
make that campaign sign.
She had nothing to do with
Crockett
it.
No, but it's beautiful.
No, but from what I can see, the games are sold out. And,
no, that's awesome.
And
we have a lot of people who either are European or pretend they're European here in North Texas. So that's great.
Yeah. British love cricket, Indians, and so and it's like that's it's fine. I remember one of the when I lived in Rockford, Illinois, and worked for our great affiliate WROK. I don't know whether it still goes on now, but they used to have the ethnic food festival.
Yeah.
Oh.
Huh. Oh, yeah.
It was fantastic.
Yeah, you want to bring a pillow and a sleeping bag so you can just stay over.
Oh, it was all over the world.
Right. Yeah.
Bringing their native food, and you could test it. You could test it. You could taste
sample
it, sample it, test it.
I need to see what's in it.
What country are you from?
Why do you
I need to test this. Are you going to point?
Why do you have an eyedropper and a beaker?
Exactly. You can taste it.
It's a tostada.
You could taste it. You
enjoy it.
You could buy stuff, and it was absolutely wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, if that's what you're bringing in your culture, that's fine.
Oh yeah, that's
to
me that's very American.
That's exactly.
Yeah.
You know, you're part of. Hey, I'm part of the melting pot. Here's what I have.
Right. The French brought the Brie, and of course here in America we have our Velveeta.
The culture of I hate America, and when I come over here, I'm still going to hate America, and I am going to do anything to take down America.
Mm-hmm.
No. I can't believe I'm actually saying this. It's like, this is how ridiculous it has gotten.
Yeah.
No. Sorry. No. No. And no.
Well, we have to remind our audience when officially say it. It's like that little notification on your car that comes up that tells you to pay attention to driving, and it comes up. It always pops up randomly while you're driving, and you have to click OK in order to get back to your and
music. Take your eyes off the road.
Yeah, exactly. And your hand off the wheel. Sorry, Jim Morrison, but there's the problem. This is the culture of delusion that we have to address. We here at Red Eye Radio are against bad things. We're against wrongdoings and whatnot. I'm not fully against whatnot, but most of the time I am.
I hate whatnots.
Well, it is what it is.
I mean, that's the only thing I don't hate anything except whatnots.
Yeah. So, shenanigans we're okay with because one of us is Irish. But we're against wrongdoing. The fact that we have to say that and repeat that over and over again, and then the left again. Well, that's racist.
And we must ban tomfoolery.
Yes.
It also has to go.
We do. We absolute tomfoolery? No. That's a full stop right there. Not gonna put up with it. Knock it off. That's our point.
Tomfoolery and whatnot.
And
shenanigans.
And shenanigans. We'll tolerate.
Where the hell are we going with this?
But what? Yeah, exactly.
Ballyhoo.
Ballyhoo.
Wait a minute.
The ballyhoo. Huh?
Wait a minute.
What?
Ballyhoo. What was the movie with Robin Williams?
Which?
Oh, the one that
dozens of them.
Oh, the one where he's the professor.
Dead Poets Society?
No.
Good Will Hunting.
Goodwill Hunting.
Yeah.
Yes.
He wasn't in Dead Poets Society, was he? No, probably not. I don't think it was. Yeah. Good Will Hunting. That's right. Ballyhoo.
And it was. It was the scene because I was sitting there go, oh, that's where I think tomfoolery and ballyhoo.
Yeah.
Was in it, and it was I can't think of the guy that George Plimpton.
Okay.
Remember George Plimpton played for the Detroit Lions. There was a movie on it where they brought him into the author, and he pretended he was from a college and played quarterback to basically see what it was like to play in an NFL team. And they didn't tell everybody at first. They told him he came from there was no internet at the time.
Right, yeah.
When he did it. But
George could lie to anybody.
George Plimpton played the shrink.
Yeah.
Who was there with Matt Damon. He goes, no more tomfoolery, no more ballyhoo.
Yeah.
The character, Matt Damon's looking at him like, and he goes, and he sits there, and I'm paraphrasing here. Matt Damon's like, I like it, when I get into the music and, I start jamming and everything else. And you've got George Plimpton like, oh, yeah, the beat. Oh, it's the beat. And the beat really gets to me. And finally, Matt Damon looks at the character played by George Plimpton. He goes, how hard is it to just say that you're gay? It was so damn funny.
Yeah.
But that's where, so when Ron whispered that in our ears, where he goes, the ballyhoo, I'd said tomfoolery, he said ballyhoo. I went right back to it. He goes, you've got to stop the tomfoolery and the ballyhoo.
And the ballyhoo.
It's like,
it really is. We have to restate every so often the obvious of, quite frankly, look, I've never been to Somalia. I get what they're saying, but I'm guessing that the law-abiding people of Somalia also don't like that kind of behavior. The point being is nobody in the world does except the bad guys.
Well, you'll always find people in any culture that disagree with it. Not everybody is in unison with it. But when you have something that is a country that's been
what
the
they're
way they've
used
been
to
for so
getting
long.
by, which is different.
Right.
Again, if you're a law-abiding citizen there and you can't get away from that, and you're stuck in that situation, it doesn't mean you agree with it.
Well, look, Ilhan Omar does not love America.
Clearly.
Just use her as an example. Yeah. She does not love America. She hates America.
Yep.
Oh, I got to find that audio from Chris Cuomo because he was saying that yesterday about AOC. Because these people don't love America.
No, they don't.
And this comes from Chris Cuomo.
Right. No, but
say what you want about Chris Cuomo, but his father. His father played he played professional baseball. I don't know if he played major league and all that. But even though he was a good gosh, well, I don't even know what you would consider a Mario Cuomo today. Would he be a Republican?
That's a good question. That's a good question.
I just wonder if the peer pressure for Chris Cuomo when he was at CNN to be a liberal was so great that now that he's at News Nation, you're seeing more of what he really believes.
I think that's possible. I think the culture at CNN
you want to keep your job.
Different. Yeah.
I almost quit talk radio a couple of times because of pressure that was put on. That's saying, look, you have to agree with these people because they're in your party. And I went, I don't have to agree with anybody.
Yeah. No,
if someone calls themselves a Republican, and at that time I was a Republican, I'm an independent now, even though I vote almost straight line Republican.
Yeah.
But back then when I had problems with the Republicans for spending, that was actually said to me one time.
When we first started, 2005, 2006, I really honestly thought that, number one night your head was going to explode because Tom DeLay told you conservatives need to pipe down. We've cut all we can cut from the spending. And I thought, well, the new guy's just going to right here.
He's not going to last
just
long.
Just going to keel over right here in front of me.
Not going to last.
And we're going to have to hire somebody else. Yeah. But then when we started criticizing the Bush administration, for the same thing, for spending. Mm-hmm. And I thought when we went downstairs, the old building, when we went downstairs the next morning, I thought we were going to meet an angry mob of GOPers. We would get calls from some of the local GOP people.
Oh, yeah.
And they were furious.
I did. Yep, I did. Yep.
And one guy it's like he just did a direct line every night. He was furious because there was a pretty good stretch during that couple of years when the GOP was just out of line, especially on spending. And they can't have that.
Well, thank goodness they've corrected that on spending.
Thank goodness. The GOP is now, I don't say we, but the GOP is fiscally responsible in every way. Even Chip Roy, who voted for the CR 3 times.
Now we're part of the culture of delusion.
Exactly. They can do it. We can do it.
We are Red Eye Radio.
We'll be right back with more Red Eye Radio with Eric Harley and Gary McNamara.
We are Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Harley and I'm Gary McNamara. Do you want to clear up your horrendous mistake?
What is
that horrendous mistake that you made?
What did I say?
Horrible mistake.
What?
About Goodwill Hunting.
Oh, when we were, I was trying to think of, was it Dead Poets Society or Goodwill Hunting?
Yeah, you were.
And then I was thinking, well, wait a minute. No, Robin Williams wasn't in Dead Poets Society, but he was.
Yes, he was.
Yeah.
That's unforgivable. You're fired.
Yeah.
You're fired.
You know, I never saw that movie all the way through.
Neither have I.
Yeah, I don't like poetry.
I saw the beginning of it, I saw the middle of it, and I saw the end of it, but not at the same time.
The closest I'll get to poetry is music. It didn't really catch me at that time. It was probably bad timing for that movie. Good Will Hunting was a few years after it came out, before I saw it, probably on VHS or DVD or something.
I mean, the end of it, the Dead Poets Society is great, you know.
Yeah.
My Captain.
Yeah, I've seen the clips and all that.
Yeah.
Looks great. Yeah. But I never watched it all the way through.
Top of the Hour News is brought to you by House Products. Visit houseproducts.com.
This is Red Eye Radio on Westwood One. Now, it's Red Eye Radio. Gary McNamara and Eric Harley talk about everything from politics to social issues and news of the day. Whether you're up late or you're just starting your day, welcome to the show. From the Uniden America Studios, this is Red Eye Radio.
All across America, we are Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Culture. Just one more comment. I had mentioned, one more comment.
And then we're leaving, and that's it.
And then I'm having no more comments ever again.
And right then, Gary McNamara quit talking.
My career has ended. I'm not talking again. But I had mentioned Chris Cuomo, who had said, he didn't believe that AOC loves the country, and he was in a discussion. I don't know who it is. I think it's some actor, but they don't in this audio cut. They don't say who the actor is. You never see, any label of who this person is. But obviously they're liberal, and I can't play the first part of it because he uses the F word.
Yeah.
But Chris Cuomo was talking about his father, Mario Cuomo, former governor of
New York.
New York. Thank you. That's where I grew up.
The state that you're from.
And he was always a great speaker. And I remember when I started doing talk radio in the late 80s, in 89, and someone had called my talk show and said, Mario Cuomo was in town, and what a great speaker. And I said, he is just a wonderful speaker, projects his voice, but really doesn't say anything. I'll never forget that. And I got a bunch of Democrats call me up, and they were a little bit upset about that. And then I do remember when the difference, because speaking is a completely different animal than talk radio. And I'll never forget. Remember when Rush started getting big, and it got to be like 92 or 90. Rush Limbaugh, I'm talking about 92 or 93, and it was like, it was this big deal. Mario Cuomo is going to be the answer to go after Rush Limbaugh.
Yeah.
And he's going to be doing a Saturday show. And I'm like, okay, let's see how this works.
Yeah.
And a prepared speech before an audience is a completely different profession than talk radio. And he showed it. His show didn't last long at all. It was just one day a week.
Yeah.
I'll never forget. He wanted to be different, so he had classical music as his bumper music.
Wow. Wow.
But it didn't last long at all. That's not where I was going on it. But Chris Cuomo was mentioning his father, and he said, my father, and it's true. It's the same thing with the Irish. The Irish were demeaned in this country, as we all know. The Italians were. At one point, he talks about his father and the racism against his father. He said, people look at me and go, I'm white. His father, he goes, yeah, my father was white, but he wasn't in the culture at one time. And he said it bothered him. He said, but he loved the effing country, is that he wanted to be passionate about it. He loved the country and what the country stood for and the potential that the country had. And then he continued here. I can play that after what he had to say. Here we go.
That's the part that you guys, in my opinion, don't get right. I don't believe AOC burn any of your horses.
Yeah.
I have a hard time believing they love the country. I think they hate more about it than they love about it. And that may be unfair.
Yeah.
But if it is unfair, it's because of how they've made their own case about themselves.
It was funny when I was in high school, I wrote a paper on why it should be illegal to burn the U.S. flag, like very conservative position, very patriotic position. And I think we're grown up, that we're raised in an environment, and we do the Pledge of Allegiance, and there's a lot of, like, American patriotism, jingoism, whatever it is, when you're raised in America. And I know that, by the way, because I taught in France for a couple years, and the notion of standing up and pledging allegiance to the flag is so creepy, weird, and foreign to them that they couldn't wrap their heads around it when I explained that this is what we do from like age 7 up until 18. I mean, hell, we do it at baseball games when you're 40 and 50 and 60 and 70 years old. So we're raised in an environment where we are supposed to be as patriotic as possible, but it's hard because I think that there comes a point. Look, I think it's fair to say that there is a lot in this country that doesn't work for regular people, and I don't think it makes you unpatriotic to be able to acknowledge that. I think it makes you patriotic to be able to recognize that we can and should do better, and that we deserve better, and that America could be better. And so there's towing that line of, like, for the people for whom that kind of shallow display of patriotism is important, you're right. We've ceded that ground to the other side. But
Okay, we landed it right there. Now, I don't know who this guy is. I think he's a Hollywood actor. But I don't recognize him at all. That's a load of horse manure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because Republicans and conservatives never criticize the government.
Oh, no, never, ever. Have you heard the show?
It's like,
well,
and it's just simple. I'm sorry, but this is whoever this guy is. He's in elementary school. What you're pledging allegiance to is the values of the Constitution of the United States.
Yeah,
you're pledging your allegiance to the values. The flag represents the values. Mm-hmm. You're not pledging your allegiance to a painted cloth.
No.
You're pledging your allegiance to the Constitution of the United States, which means I pledge allegiance to these values. Everything from the Bill of Rights to all the other amendments, that's what you're pledging. You're pledging allegiance to the values that created the United States of America. And so this argument that, well, you're saying we don't love it because we criticize it. No. He's not arguing that AOC loves the government. Ilhan Omar does not the government, the country. Ilhan Omar does not love the United States of America.
No.
She hates it. She wishes to transform it completely. It's the Democrats who say the Constitution is antiquated. We need to get rid of the Electoral College. We need to get rid of the Senate.
Yep. Well, this whole idea of living, breathing document, they conjured that up so that they could start chipping away at the very foundation of the country.
Right. The entire wanting to pack the Supreme Court is about changing the separation of powers, giving the power to unelected bureaucrats.
Right.
That's against the values of the United States.
For those on the left that were criticizing and saying, like Robert Reich, the Senate, that's not fair. We shouldn't have the Senate. Well, then you're going to take those states that have smaller populations. You're going to take some of their rights away, and you're saying the states don't have those rights.
Right. Well, you're taking their representation away, and if you don't have representation, you don't have
rights.
You don't have a country.
Right.
if the population, how the hell do you think this country was formed? The 13 colonies didn't feel they didn't feel they had a voice in their own destiny. And that's what the Constitution is all about. That's what the Senate's about. That's what the Electoral College is about. All of it's about that. I mean, this is not complicated crap.
No.
This isn't complicated. Well, and they just don't like us because we got... Shut up!
Well,
we criticize the government, and therefore they think we're unpatriotic.
No.
Yeah, because we never criticize the government.
Well, and it comes down to the ideas. The people come and go. We've said this quite often over the years, but the people come and go. We're a nation that was founded on a set of ideas, and we expect all in office to adhere to those ideas and those principles. Right. And we've also asked the question of the left, what would the Constitution look like? And it's a good question. Of course, they're not going to answer it, but what would the Constitution look like in your eyes? What would this country be if you could change it? That's the difference.
Well, the other difference is the government isn't working for us. What do you mean? Are you free? Can you go search for the job that you want? The expectations of what people believe the country should be are not what the country's foundation is. The country was not found on the federal government must take care of every one of your needs.
No, you have the same opportunity.
Right.
And it requires the same work.
The government the federal government protecting you from foreign adversaries, regulating, interstate commerce. Those are the basic things. What has evolved in it is people, and as I call it, it's the people greed. Because when you believe, I love it when Democrats talk about corporations are greedy. Excuse me? Corporations that wish to make a legitimate profit voluntarily by creating a product and selling it to you where you voluntarily pay the price. If you consider that greed, then you're 1,000 times more greedy when you believe the federal government should be taking care of every one of your needs and taxing someone else to do it.
Well, they say that people shouldn't own property, that property owners are greedy. But basically, the government should provide that you get to live in that property for nothing, for free.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
the healthcare companies are greedy because they deny a claim. Someone should pay for my health care.
Right.
Which one is greedy?
Was it in the contract? No. Doesn't matter. They should pay for it anyway. It's not how things work. We also have contract law in the United States. Mm-hmm. The United States is built on contract law, where contracts mean something.
Right.
And, it's this entire thing that when you look at how the country was formed, I believe that you and I and many of our listeners understand and agree with the original intent and understand that what people believe should be the intent of the government to take care of me. Number one, is not sustainable as we're seeing right now. It's not sustainable as a country, and it doesn't build the best people. When you look at the liberalism today, which has created a pathology of dependency, when you and I see the mindset, and I'll never forget how angry we were, after Occupy Wall Street, how frustrated we were. Bernie Sanders out there saying you can't make it in the world because of billionaires. Billionaires don't have one thing to do with you not making it in this world.
Nope.
Somebody was making that case the other day, some liberal again. I was like, Shut up. They've got nothing to do with it.
You just heard it. The podcaster saying, regular people. What does that mean? You have the same opportunity. You can pursue the same things. You have the same opportunity. And it requires the same effort. It requires the same work.
You can pursue it. You have you can pursue happiness. Mm-hmm. You can pursue a career.
Yep.
Nobody's going to stop you from making your choices. That's what the country is about.
And define happiness, define success. You and I have talked about, you and I each have a family member, and they have lived below their means, put money away, made life decisions that they can provide for themselves. And in my case, my family member is now full-time retired. has plenty of money to last him the rest of his life, and he doesn't live in a mansion. And he worked and made pipes for a living for years, served in the Marines, served in the National Guard. He made his choice, and for him, or anybody by my standards, I look at his scenario, and he's highly successful. The left has created this envy culture as well. And that is, we need to build it. We talked about it, Obama in 2008. Well, the capital gains tax, when asked by the moderator in the debate, Charlie Gibson, well, you keep talking about it. It shows that on the capital gains tax, if you raise it too high, the revenue, the government revenue, which someone like Obama would want for all the programs, actually decreases. And so when he was defeated on that, because Charlie Gibson went at it twice with him, he finally said, well, Charlie, we're going to do it out of a sense of fairness.
Right. He didn't argue the point.
Fairness. What he means by that is we don't like that somebody else has something. I say earned it. But we don't like that somebody else. Well, what kind of emotion is that? What does it matter to you? Good for them. Good for them. You know how many jobs they create? Oh, when what's his name? Was it Alan Grayson? Who was the guy, the lawmaker that actually used the Grey Poupon?
The Grey Poupon, yeah, that was great.
And we broke it down that night and did the math on it was the economy of a pencil is what we were doing from the great Milton Friedman. And we broke it down. Well, who makes the lid to that jar? Who farms the ingredients that go into that Grey Poupon mustard? What about the paint that goes on the jar? What about getting those jars to the shelf? How many truckers? So look at all of the, because it was the wealth tax, or not wealth tax, but the tax for the rich, the highest level tax, and it was going to be extended in that year. I think that was 2012, and it was in December of 2012 actually. And he was saying, look at what they can buy. They can buy this. They can buy this. Look at all the jobs they're creating. Look at what they're supporting with their money. Look at the companies they own.
But they don't love the country because they don't love the Constitution. That's where it's not that you have a disagreement with the government. It's what your disagreement is.
You don't believe in the foundation.
If you don't believe in the foundation of the country, then of course you can't love the country.
Right.
We are Red Eye Radio.
This morning's USDA Farm Report is brought to you by House Products. Tested, trusted, guaranteed since 1920.
A symbol of Christmas in the nation's capital is now shining bright. A symbol also a partnership.
The Forest Service has a long and beautiful tradition of providing and delivering a fresh-cut tree to our nation's capital.
We have partnered with the United States Forest Service for this event since 1970, and we truly appreciate their assistance in finding and providing the perfect candidate each year to serve as the people's tree.
U.S. Forest Service Chief Tom Schultz and architect of the U.S. Capitol Thomas Austin, respectively, Tuesday evening, joining dignitaries, including Agriculture Secretary Brooke Rollins, for the annual U.S. Capitol Christmas tree lighting ceremony. Speaker of the House Mike Johnson was joined by Capitol Christmas tree essay winner Grady Armstrong of Nevada in lighting the tree from the Silver State, nicknamed Silver Bell.
3, 2, 1. There you go.
Ron Dane reporting for the U.S. Department of Agriculture in Washington, D.C.
This report brought to you by Cenex Fuels and Lubes.
Get in touch with Red Eye Radio, toll free at 866-90-RED-EYE.
We are Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Eric, when you were gone earlier this week, I said because the story was changing so many times about the drug strikes, the drug boat strikes. I said, you know something, come back to me in a month when we finally get what the story is.
Right, yeah, exactly.
And now it's, you saw the story yesterday, and the media was reporting it, that it's because the two survivors were climbing back up to get the drugs to try to rescue the drugs.
Right.
They were trying to save the drugs at that particular point. So
right.
this story's gone all over the place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah,
We'll see.
it is interesting. But again, what actually happened, it's going to take a minute to find out everything.
Catch Red Eye Radio live every night on the Red Eye Radio app. Available in the App Store. Red Eye Radio.
And I'm Gary McNamara. He's Eric Harley. Download our Red Eye Radio app today, and you can listen when you choose. Academy Award winning actress Halle Berry lashed out at Newsom Wednesday, arguing he overlooks women and should not be our next president.
Wow.
At this stage in my life, I have 0 F's left to give. A lot of F-word usage yesterday.
Yeah.
Berry said in remarks.
Oh, it was F-word Wednesday.
Oh,
so that's
F-word.
why.
Okay, F-word Wednesday. Okay.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Berry said in remarks at the Deal Book Summit before taking aim at the Democratic governor, according to the Hollywood Reporter, quote, back in my great state of California, my very own Governor Gavin Newsom has vetoed our menopause bill not 1 but 2 years in a row. But that's okay because he's not going to be our governor forever. And the way he has overlooked women, half the population, by devaluing us, he probably should not be our next president either. Just saying.
Mm-hmm.
A jab at Newsom, who spoke at the same summit after Berry, reportedly drew gasps from the crowd at the Lincoln Center in New York City.
Mm-hmm.
They talk about, polls saying that he's, one of the top draws for the Democrats next year.
Yeah.
Berry's criticism of the, this is the New York Post I'm reading it from, so understand here.
Yeah.
Berry's criticism of the slick-haired politician,
Gavin with the good hair,
stemmed from his October veto of legislation for the second time aimed at improving and expanding menopause care. The bill Newsom rejected sought to mandate that health care plans provide recommendations for menopause-related treatments and require health care providers to receive training related to menopause care. Berry, 59, is the founder of Respin, a women's health and longevity company focused on menopause care. In 2025, there's still a lot to be talked about and discovered and uncovered, especially if you're a woman who is navigating midlife and thoughtfully considering your longevity because of 2025. I and women my age are simply devalued in this country. Our culture thinks that at 59 years old, I am past my prime and that women my age start to become invisible in Hollywood, in the workplace, on social media. Women are pressured to stay 35 forever. That's completely false. It's 25.
That's right. Yeah, let's not get into the 30s.
Right. A spokesperson for Newsom. See, we old men, we age gracefully.
Yeah, we do. We do everything gracefully.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, everybody knows.
A spokesperson for Newsom told the Post that the governor vetoed the menopause care bill because it would have raised health care costs. The governor has deep admiration for Ms. Berry's advocacy and looks forward to working with her and other stakeholders on this critical issue. He shares her goal of expanding access to menopause care that too many women struggle to get, as long as it doesn't cost any money.
I'll say this. She's only a few months younger than me, and one of us looks our age, and the other one is aging gracefully.
If that's a picture from yesterday, you are correct.
Yeah.
And she is the one aging gracefully.
Yeah. Yeah, she looks great for 59. She looks great for 29.
She does.
Yeah. So,
but I just love the gasps in the crowd. You can't criticize Newsom here. What are you doing?
Yeah. Yeah. Because if this is what I love about the left. If his time had come and gone, she would have gotten standing ovation, right? If he were no longer useful, what? You can't say that. Is, hey, we kind of want him in 28. We're not sure yet, so don't do that. Yeah, it's quite unfortunate for the left and for people like Halle Berry, but he's probably going to be the guy. She ends up introducing him on the stage in 28 at the convention. I'll say this. The only thing that is aged about Halle Berry is her remarks. And what I mean by that is she's playing the old school game. Because for Halle Berry, I would ask the question, well, define a woman. Because it sounds like she's defining a woman in the actual definition, the biological definition of a woman, and she's advocating for women in her age group and all of that. But she's talking like it's 1996. And you can't define a woman the same way. That train's already left the station. So I don't know if she didn't get the memo. Busy making movies or whatnot, or working, in her nonprofit. I don't know. But the only thing that's aged is that part of the conversation that basically implies that the left actually cares about women. No, that's not the case anymore. Sorry, Halle. It's just not. When the liberal transgender movement came in and scrapped all of that, it's over. You ladies had a good run. And now the left doesn't want you, to have your own advocacy group or anything else. That's just where they are, thanks to the liberal transgender movement.
Listen to this here, because that's the entire point. She's sitting there over menopause, and then you have to ask the question: do you believe that men go through menopause?
Right.
Because she has shown support for the transgender community, notably by signing an open letter with other feminist leaders, and by feminist leaders who support men being women, and by apologizing and withdrawing from a trans role after criticism that she should not have considered playing a transgender man. Why not?
Why not?
It's acting.
Right.
She stated that as a cisgender woman, she should not have considered the role, and that the trans community should have the opportunity to tell their own stories.
So what about a murderer? Who's going to play the murderer?
I mean, it's so stupid.
Yeah.
So, there you go.
And by the way, for the left, men put the men in menopause. It's all about the men now. Sorry, ladies.
Well, that's the whole thing. Do they realize how stupid they sound when they say they care about women, yet they believe that men should play women's sports,
right,
and that men can become women if they choose
right,
to, and that men can get pregnant, and that not all women have. That's still, by the way, one of the favorite things. I will look back when I'm retired and sitting on my porch, after my 15th scotch. I'm kidding. By the way, I've never tasted scotch. I don't even know what it is.
And it's going to have to be at least 20.
It just sounded right?
Yeah,
Sitting on the porch with
a cigar.
After another scotch.
Take up smoking and drinking finally.
Cigar. And then they tell me, Gary, look, you need to cut back your drinking 30%. Well, give me some edibles then.
Right.
That was from a story yesterday, by the way.
Exactly.
It's still one of my favorite
I'm only
stories.
drinking because I'm out of edibles.
That was pretty funny though when I saw the headline.
Yeah.
I was talking to a friend of mine about that today. I was just like, and so I see this. It was my brother. I was talking to my brother. I said, so I see this headline yesterday, and it says, there is a way that they have found to stop heavy drinkers from drinking so much that they can cut back 30%. And I went, what is this wonderful thing they've come up with? Smoke pot.
Weed. Yeah.
But one of my favorite things of all time was the first year when Trump first got in 2016, and they had the Women's March. And everybody had the pink hats.
That imploded quickly.
And it was vagina this, vagina that, vagina. Yeah. It was.
And then nope.
Then in 2017, the big split in feminism, that the pink hats and the vagina symbolism must go because not all women have vaginas.
Right.
And it was like the big split
just imploded.
The new form of feminism. Men. Men take over.
Exactly.
I mean, that's what's so. I'm for women. No, you're not.
Well, yeah, you're not.
I care about women. No, you don't.
No.
I'm a woman who cares about women, so men should be able to become women.
Right.
They can't.
No.
This is again.
They can't even have a million vagina march. It just won't be allowed.
Oh, gosh.
They tried 1 year, and the second year
it failed.
Had to be gone. That really sums up how bizarre and chaotic the left is.
I know. It's just...
That set of events. Man, I hope they teach that in history. I hope they're already teaching it in history. I doubt it. Maybe in homeschooling somewhere.
Well, I'll never forget about the first one was. That's when we figured out that Ashley Judd was bat soup crazy. Mm-hmm. I can still remember her in that white suit.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We hate Trump. Trump hates women. So since Trump hates women, let's pretend that men can become women. Oh yeah, I can follow that. I can follow that logic. Oh yeah, that seems to make a lot of sense.
The early stages of TDS, Trump derangement syndrome, were so off the chart. It's still off the charts.
Which is the woman in the yellow raincoat. Remember that?
Yeah. Yeah. It's just thinking back, man, I want to teach. I don't even have to teach a class. Just hand out the materials. The history of TDS 101. Teach that at a college campus. The left just losing their ever-loving mind over. They're still doing it. As you mentioned, it's always funny to watch.
Go ahead.
Well, it was, you mentioned, I think last night, it's funny to watch them talk about anything or ask him a question about, like, his MRI. And you can just hear that TDS. They're just so eager to get him on something.
It's a manic obsession to try to get a meaningless point that is basically gaslighting because everybody it's pretty self-aware that Trump is not a Biden.
And it continued yesterday.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. But yeah, it's just, if you go back and you just look at the history of TDS, it's just, now we're kind of conditioned to it because we see it every day. We see it everywhere. But the beginning stages, it was like, whoa. That person is just a little crazy. Oh, my gosh, man.
Did they give up on that? Does the Women's March take place every year now? Or is that? If it does, it's not as big, and nobody was really
I don't.
talking
Yeah, I don't
about
think
it.
so. Yeah, because what are you going to do? What are you going to stand for?
But
that's the problem.
But that's more the culture of delusion.
Yep.
The radical transgender movement.
Yep.
We are Red Eye Radio.
Coming up, more with Gary McNamara and Eric Harley. It's Red Eye Radio.
We are Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Thank you, President Trump.
Yeah.
Cafe standards, exit stage left.
Oh, man.
Finally.
Wow. This is, I don't know how long.
Finally.
Seems like forever.
God.
Yeah.
How much money did Americans throw down the toilet with cafe standards?
Forget it.
How much has that hurt American automobile manufacturers
the cost
over the years?
of government in one vehicle. And don't even get me started on Class A trucks, big rigs. Same thing. Same thing. And with big rigs, we, the consumers, pay for that.
Oh, yeah?
We got to pay for the cost of shipping.
Well, no. The trucking companies pay for it.
They absorb it, yeah.
Yeah, they absorb it all. It never gets
all those
passed
rich
down.
truckers out there.
Yeah.
They absorb it. The billionaire truckers. The billionaire truckers are all absorbing the cost themselves. They pay for the fuel. They pay for all the equipment, all of it. Yeah. Oh, man. It's the cafe standards going away. That's a big, big deal.
It is.
This is Red Eye Radio on Westwood One.